Hi, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, the place where we come to share our love for the yarn crafts and everything that it brings to us, and the happiness it gives us, and what we hope it gives to you, and how we give it to others because she's making something for someone. We're on episode 27. Today has been really weird because we were out and about earlier and it was raining so hard, and now it's like there wasn't any rain. It was so dark, we were wondering if we were going to have to turn a light on to make this video, because normally we use natural sunlight, but it was so dark. It almost looked like it was like 9 o'clock at night or something.
I know.
And now it's like...
And we were out in it.
Oh my goodness, we got soaked.
It could be now. I mean, we could have went out in this kind of weather and it would have been okay. But, you know, and you're bringing a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old.
A 1 and a
1
2.
And a 2.
Or a 1 and a 3, whatever you
want. And we're trying to get them out of car seats and using umbrellas and going to my church's Rummage Sale.
Yep.
That they're trying to raise money for Night to Shine. And it's a prom that they host for the disabled, and they provide everything: dresses, the tuxes, all the catering,
the DJ, the everything,
the balloons.
The experience of prom is made special to the special need of for, I'm guessing it's all the schools?
The community.
Yeah, the community of schools that are not able to do that for their small groups of special needs in every single district. They're able to actually come together and do it in one big whoop.
And what was really cool is they had lost some of their funding, so they asked us to contribute towards this rummage sale. And they got so much stuff. And they're trying to raise $10,000 to be able to, you know, do the best they can for this event. And if they sell everything, they're probably going to make $10,000 plus. There was such amazing things at this sale, and
we found some good stuff.
We found some good stuff, and we were able to walk away. We didn't find any yarn, which is what I went there to look for, but there was lots of stuff.
Did you buy any books besides the one we got for Olivia?
No.
The main things that I always go for are like shoes or books. I like to look for clothes, but clothes can sometimes be hard, but it's like if there's good sales on shoes and good sales on books, I'm just not gonna argue.
I was able to find some dress-up dresses for Olivia.
Oh,
the Elsa dress, the Ariel dress,
and I think it was Sophia, Princess Sophia dress.
So and her birthday's coming up at the end of the month, so I've got these, and it was a really good price. So I'm very happy about that.
And then my son Caniel, my 18-month-old, we went past the toy section and he found this Batman-mobile that is supposed to be, and it has all these flashing lights, and it's big, it's pretty decent size.
But he
sat on it. I couldn't move for 15 minutes because he refused to not be driving around on it for that whole entire time, pressing the buttons, playing with it. And my daughter, who's the firstborn, we have a lot of things pink. I'm not saying that all of it's pink. I try to always keep the toys as neutral as possible because I knew that with Caniel that things were going to be passed down. Not that pink's a big deal, but he was attracted to something that was more primarily a more boy thing, and I was just sitting there being like, most of our outdoor toys even have something more of like an Elsa or a pink pastel aesthetic, and I'm like, he's never really asked for anything, but this caught his eye. And then we were just like, we're getting it, I guess.
Yeah, we're getting it.
And I was able to find a leather jacket that fit me really nice, and 2 pairs of leather boots. And I put trying them on, and I was so scared the jacket wasn't gonna fit, but it ended up fitting really nicely.
Right.
And the shoes fit really well, and they're not that badly worn. Like one of them's a little worn, but I expect that for the boot that it was. Like especially here at winter time, that's when I would probably wear them, or fall. I was like, they're worn, but it's a garage, it's a rummage sale. These are secondhand stuff. I can't expect that much, but because primarily most of my stuff was leather, I was like, oh, this is gonna be expensive. And of course, I had Olivia that found this bucket that some sort of like tackle bucket that it was kids, but it was frozen themed, but it was like a tackle box, and
she went around the whole
entire thing. This thing is a gymnasium full of stuff on top of the front hall.
The whole entryway was filled.
And she went around filling it.
Yep.
Different things. Just filling it. And at the end of it, she came up to me and she's like...
Yep.
And I'm just like... Luckily, I wasn't that worried about it. Everything that would fit inside that tackle box,
10
I knew wasn't...
cents, 25 cents. It was not a big deal.
And I was so excited because I'm sitting there being like, my husband doesn't even really know I'm here, let alone the fact that I'm buying leather stuff, like leather outerwear, and I'm like, it's going to be expensive even though it's a rummage sale. And the woman is packing all my stuff into these bags, and it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger because the kids are laying their stuff on the table, and I'm just like, oh God. And she's just, and my mom said that she'd buy the bike, and she's just looking at it, and I'm just like, aren't you gonna tally? I was about to be like, what's the tally, like, or what, or how are we pricing everything? I didn't see any price tags out there, and she's like, $15 for everything, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
The big ticket items, like big objects, were priced, but everything else, it was gonna be like just gauging from what it looked like, the value of the person that was doing it, being like $15. Like with Mom, they did the same thing. Just unless it was otherwise marked and they had to add that, they just kind of gauged the value of what the things were and just did it.
Because Canyo's little bike was $15.
$15. So I'm sitting there being.
But I had that, and then I had a leather bag, and a couple of three of those dresses and a couple of other things, and mine came up to less than $20. I just handed her $20 and said, keep the change because it's going for a good cause.
Yeah, and it was just like one of those things where it was like, they definitely were pricing things affordably.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to a good cause, but they had a lot of things, so in my head it's also like they needed the stuff to also leave at the same time. So the things that were valuable, they priced with a greater cost, an appropriate cost.
Yeah.
But then with other things, they're like, we want people to enjoy coming and doing this, and they're obviously here and they're spending money for the good cause. So I don't know. It just was fun. It was a nice break because it's been a while since I've done something like that. I appreciate going.
And it was really fun. And we had the kids attached to us with
they're called
straps.
They're called anti-lock bracelets. So it's a Velcro bracelet that's attached with a cord that's kind of like a bungee. And it's then a bungee, like a spring bungee. So,
like an old telephone cord. Yeah,
an old telephone cord that stretches, but it does condense when it's not in use. And then it cuffs on them. I have ones that actually lock so they can't undo the strap.
Yeah.
And just regular Velcro ones. But I have a whole bunch of them because in the cord it cannot be cut. So if someone were to try to cut it,
right,
it cannot be cut, and it's a lot of effort. Once you hear that Velcro, they make the Velcro ones really loud, and otherwise the other ones are locked, so you can't get it without the key that's attached to the adult strap. And so we get inside, and it had been raining, so we're trying to get inside without being wet, using our umbrellas, and then trying to operate with having kids on our hips and the bags that we had with us. And we're like, okay, we're inside, fine, thank God. And then the kids are like, look at all the things, and just went. And we're like,
Strap 'em.
we're like, we need, and I call them leashes. Not to be like degrading or anything, but I was just like, leashes, and my mom's like, leashes.
And we kept them away from all the glass and stuff, but they had fun picking out toys and stuff, and it was a ball.
It was fun. I don't know. Today felt like a field trip, and it was really, really nice, and the people were nice, and it's the first time I was able to go to my mom's church, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very nice, and Mom was trying to find more yarn to work with.
And I didn't see any.
There was nothing in the craft section, but my mom's working on a Scrappy Blanket, and she was really hoping to find yarn for it.
Yeah. Last week I had said that, I was going to just work on my wearable, but I thought about it and I thought, what if I didn't give myself enough time? What if I didn't have enough yarn or whatever, so I better start on this thing, get it done, and then I can just work on my wearable and it won't matter.
And she's referring to the blanket that she has a deadline for.
Yes.
Normally she works on one project at a time. That's just what she does for her own sanity. But because this had an actual deadline, even though she had already started the wearable, she wanted to make sure that she had time for this.
Yeah.
So she put it aside and she started this. It's really pretty.
So I'm working in pinks, whites, grays, and blacks. And black, I usually, as I've said before, I usually use that as a secondary color when I'm doing 2 colors at a time. I don't usually use it as a color by itself because it's so hard to see the stitches and everything. Yeah. And especially when it's getting dark out, even if you have light on, it's just very hard for me to pick out those stitches and stuff like that. I'd rather work it with another color. Mm-hmm. And so I am doing the Scrappy, and I started it a couple of days ago, so I've got some dark down at the bottom and some lighter colors and some working together colors. So I'm doing all kinds of different things. I'm using variegateds with solids and
solids with solids. And freckled yarns with solids
and I'm just mixing it together. I don't care what comes next, and I figure I don't think she will either. As long as she loves pink and anything that goes with it, it's going to be a nice one.
It's one of those things where, like, the one idea that I really do admire about your Scrappy Blanket idea is that you figure out what the basic colors are and then just work with what you have.
Yeah.
And it always turns out so fun and eclectic and unique.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the blankets that it has to be in the house. You always have it.
Yeah.
You never can get rid of it because it holds memories.
And it's almost like a Where's Waldo.
Yeah.
You can pick out all the different colors, or you can see what you've been working with. Let me take this hook out a minute. But you've got the dark pink and the black, and then the white and the light pink. But then I started with the gray and the working with this pink. We went into the gray, and then the gray worked itself into working with the other color. And then so you've got the pink that worked into the gray, the gray that worked into the other color,
the ombre that worked into the white, and the white that worked into the Okay. So that's fun.
It just keeps going, and it's as you add new colors, and you're working with old colors, it all keeps combining together.
It's like its own version of an ombre.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That must be satisfying.
I love doing Scrappy Blankets. That's my favorite.
Honestly, it's so good. I wish I enjoyed blankets in this format that were like, make the width and then just work till you knew what the length that you wanted was. But it takes it feels such like a slow burn.
Right.
And we were talking about this last week. Most of the time with crafters,
right,
the therapy in the craft is either in doing it or in the end result. Now, to be fair, most crafters like both.
Right.
You can't really enjoy anything without enjoying both. But it's at what degree does the payoff for you?
So for me, it would be a 90% process and then
then
10% ending.
Yeah. Whereas for me, it's like, look at what I made.
Yeah.
Look at it. It's so cool. I'm so proud of myself.
Right.
And like, because that generally, I want that feeling, I make smaller projects.
Right.
Doesn't take away from you doing longer ones or takes away from when I do smaller ones. They're both just as fine.
Right.
But they have a different, what's the word I'm looking for? The gratification, the satisfaction.
Yeah.
Is achieved differently. The satisfaction is achieved differently, and the manner in which you get it, whether it be by doing it like this and being like, look at what I can do.
Right.
I'm going to continue doing it, and I do it well.
Yeah.
Eventually this will have to stop, but I can always start back up again, and let's see how much longer I can do something.
Right.
You really, I know this is going to sound weird, but my mom's already an author, and we talk about different authors that she likes. Or like authors that have writing methods that she likes.
Yeah.
Like one of them being Stephen King.
Yeah.
And his writing method is, I start something, and as I'm doing it, the characters then kind of write the story
for him.
Story for him in his sense. He's living it with them. He's not necessarily writing it for them. There's some people that have to be in complete control, know exactly what the story is, front to back to finish, and everything.
And they have it all outlined and everything,
everything.
and I can't write like that.
And granted, there's nothing wrong with that if that works for you.
Yeah.
But for him, it's, I start something, I have an idea, and I'm just going to let it go.
Let it unfold as he's going along.
But
he doesn't even know how it's going to end, and that's how I do my stories as well. I never know how mine are going to, where they're going to take me or how they're going to end.
Whereas for me, I already have to know what I'm doing before I do it.
Yeah.
Like, you have the whole Michelangelo thing where it's like, David was in the stone, I just knocked him out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's true, but you had to have some sort of idea of what David looked like first.
Right. Right.
The stone didn't just break away and there was David. Even though I understand what he's saying, I'm over here just being like, I have to have some sort of understanding as to what I'm achieving to be able to achieve it. And then I'm satisfied when when it looks as close to what I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that end result of, I did it, this is what I wanted, that's why it's so. And the greater the payoff to, the greater the difficulty or the greater the challenge it is for me, the higher satisfaction I got.
Right.
But I've always wanted to be able to be like, I have the patience to make something that takes longer.
Yeah.
Has a longer payoff, has a longer required time. And I've been wanting to make a blanket for a while, but this back and forth is not my thing.
I know.
It's just not.
I like yours. But see, that's not me though.
But I like.
So each of us have our own style.
Working in the round, I see it building quicker.
Yeah.
I know that's stupid because yours is building quite fast, but the hook I use is smaller based off of what I'm comfortable with and what I've always used. You have a bigger hook.
What is your hook size that you're using?
I think it's a 5. It's a 5 millimeter.
So it's an H hook. Yeah. And mine is an N hook and it's a 10 millimeter.
We're a half a size difference.
Yeah, but see, from 2 days ago to now.
Right. Right.
And not working on it full time, just a couple of minutes here and there, and it works up pretty fast. But I like the looks of yours, but see, I'm not one who does the things that she does. I don't do these extra stitches. I like the stitch I use.
And that's the weird thing, is that like the simplicity of your crocheting pays off so well with the way that you color code things and how you pair things together, like how we were explaining the whole as one yarn ends the other one goes, and it's feeding
and
it keeps feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding and matching because it's like integrating and like it's locking together. It reminds me of almost like a puzzle. Whereas for me, I can do a blanket like that, but I'd get bored with it. I wouldn't be satisfied. I don't know if any of you, I don't think she has Hamilton. It's a musical, but there's this whole song about he'll never be satisfied. But working from the round, I see things build quicker because I see as it's going that the amount of effort I put into it, you can already see what it's going to become.
Well, the width and the length are building determined all the time.
Are already determined. So making things from the middle, it works for me. And so with blankets, that's how I've done it. But this one, I've really made some progress on it.
So pretty.
It's here.
I love the shells, and I love the sand color. It's just so antique-y.
Yeah. And it all started off in the middle. Do they see it?
Yeah, very pretty.
And it just works out, and it's really pretty, but it's definitely gotten bigger. Like, definitely not as big as Mom's,
It's a giant square.
But, my mom had the suggestion of making it as big as my king size bed. It's not that I'm starting to realize the addiction of the drive of just having something that is continuously moving and moving and moving, and that attraction of how big can this get.
Right.
And I guess part of the reason why doing it back and forth doesn't work for me the same is also because you have to, like, if you make it too long, it's going to be a really awkward rectangle, or if you make it too short, it's not going to come up as fast, but you check it in a way that I probably wouldn't be satisfied with, and I'd always be worried. Whereas when the shape is already constructed and you're just building it to as big as you already need, that designated shape of, is this going to be a square or a rectangle? We've already made the shape, now we're just building off of it. Eliminates the need to try to make that perfect shape. I've already constructed its base, so as long as I continue with its additions properly, it will expand properly. And I've really been able to just sit down and do it recently, and have that help me just like sit down, put on an audiobook if my kids are doing their thing, and I'm just gonna crochet for a minute. Because my kids actually are a lot calmer if I sit down. I know it sounds weird. It's not that I'm hectic when I'm walking around, but if they know that Mom's going to be sitting for a while if I pull up my crochet. Or if I pull up a book. Because I do either. Either I'm crocheting or I'm reading when I'm sitting down.
It's just security for them.
And they know that I'm there. That if they need me, I'm right there. They're more apt to play by themselves
if you're doing something by yourself. Yes. Yep.
It
calms kids down.
I'm guessing you're right. I mean, you would know, but it's been a very interesting observation. Because I was thinking, if I sit down doing something, they're going to interrupt me. And of course, they're kids. It's not like it's perfect. But at the same time, Olivia has the tendency of being like, trying to hand me my book or trying to hand me my crochet and trying to get me to sit down. And her biggest thing is if I sit down under a blanket with her, she knows. She just knows. One of the biggest things that she tries to achieve when James gets home, my husband, is if I can sit on his lap, he can't get up.
Yep. That's exactly it.
And she loves spending that time with him like that. At the end of the day, they like to just watch their movies together, and she has to sit next to someone. She can sit by herself, but I have a hard time being the cuddle buddy because I see all the things that need to be done. And so generally she spends it with the male part of our family the most.
Yeah.
We have a family friend that she does that with, Drew. She
Yeah.
does that a lot with him. She'll sit with him. You have Dad, like her Papa, her Grandpa, her Grandpapa. They all do that for her.
But that's good for little girls to have that male.
Yeah, I know. It's very calming to her, though. Like, the other day with one of them, he just fell asleep just because she was warm. He's just like, she was warm. I fell asleep. Didn't even realize it. And she's just calm. She's calm when she's with people.
Yeah.
In that way. And she does come. I'm not saying I don't cuddle with my kid. That's not it. If I finally get downtime, I need it to be real, to rejuvenate myself. And so I pick up my crochet or I pick up a book. Yeah. Or when I'm picking up my crochet, I have something on in my ears.
Yeah.
Either way.
Because listening to children's programs after you've seen them 50 times, you need something else.
I know some people that don't always have children's programs on at home, so that kids are well aware that they have to share the TV. It's not that I'm against that, but I respect the fact that at their age, they have their preferences, and I can save my preferences for the end of the day.
Well, and you are putting on learning programs anyway. It's always a learning program.
Generally it is. Olivia's been super obsessed with Winnie the Pooh recently. Like, hyperly obsessed.
There is nothing wrong with Winnie the Pooh.
Listen, I understand that, but like, we were watching the Heffalump movie this morning, and in that particular one, they were trying to find a Heffalump, and of course they find one, and it becomes a friend of the group. Cool. Awesome. Teaches kids how to fight against prejudiceness and being able to work together and love each other through the stigmas of what was said.
Friendship is important.
Yeah, and stuff like that, and it's really cool, but their first introduction into the Heffalump even being real is because they're all woken up in the 100-Acre Wood to the trumpeting sound of what is pretty much an elephant.
Yeah.
And she's running to me when that is happening, and she comes up to me and she's like, oh, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, Heffalump. She can't say it, so she's like, did you hear it? Heffalump. I'm like, oh, did you hear the Heffalump? She's like, uh-huh. and then she's like, I gotta know, and she's just running back to the living room, just like staring at the TV, like, what's next? It's like, you've seen this like 50 times, but it's the best thing ever. The 51st time.
But I also think that they learn something new about it every single time. They see something different every single time when they watch this. It's kind of like reading the Bible. You get something new out of it every single time that you read it. And that will bring us good segue for our verse of the week, which is, let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. And that's found in Ephesians 4:29 in the New Living Translation. That's how it's worded. I really like how the New Living Translation just is so encouraging to me. And I'm going to read it again. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. My goal in life is to encourage other people. I think that is my purpose on this earth, is to be an encourager. It's something that comes naturally to me. I really enjoy using words to help other people to feel better about themselves. And I also am a word person anyway, but encouraging people makes me feel better, and it generally helps the other person as well. And I just think to be good and helpful. It's the whole reason that we do what we do. To encourage other people is to be good and to help them. And I just like the wording in this New Living Translation.
Simple.
How simple it is.
Plain.
Yeah. How easy it is to know what is being said. It's not as hard as some of those other versions that you're not quite sure.
Well, as time changes, the evolution of our own vocabulary and how language is, and the turn of phrase changes.
And how we understand it.
And how we understand it changes. And so having these updated translations as to what the scrolls likely said.
Yeah, how they said it back then is not how we talk now.
Yeah. And just having these updated versions are very, very helpful to be able to have better understanding. And I don't know. With this verse in particular, it's like, it just tells me, like, there's a huge reputation as to how, even in the Christian community, how God wants, what our purpose as Christians are to be in this time on the earth, even throughout history. You know, what is it that Christians are meant to do on their time, with their time on earth? And I had a friend the other day just say it plain to me. She's like, it says in the Bible, I'm not to be the judge. I can say what my God has told me is right from wrong, but I am not to judge that person. Right. My job is to tell the truth and love them through it.
Yeah.
God, I've done my best to help them in their walk, but it's their turn as to what they want to do with their own salvation. Right. I cannot make that choice for them. And my words and my actions will affect them, and God never left people. Right. He walked them through it. Yeah. And he had very kind words. Yeah. He was very, very good with his words.
Yes, he was.
And there was just something about that simplicity of the things that we do know are right and wrong, we can share. That's not judging. Judging is when you act that that they are in some way lesser than you for not walking out their own salvation the way that you think that they should.
Yes.
And granted, some people do fall short, but the Bible literally says all will fall short.
Yeah.
But it's the whole action of everyone has their kryptonite. Everyone has their own weaknesses. Yeah. And how God helps to work with them. Why would you make it harder to be used by God by making them feel bad to come to you? Lessen the ability for God to move because you feel that you're better than them.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And our words obviously have the power of life and death. We have the ability, even studies have said, even without Christianity involved or even God, any sort of religious beliefs involved, not even Christian, just religious beliefs, scientists have proven if you talk life to a plant, the plant will grow. Yeah. If you talk badly to a plant will die regardless of how they're groomed. The same, regardless of the soil, regardless of the seeds. It has been shown, you will die. They will live. There's some sort of reality to words of what they do to build up and what they do to tear down. And God has specifically said, choose life. And I don't think that we as Christians, if we're truly going to follow God's teachings, have the right to just nitpick at people, which is inevitably not going to do what we're trying to do. We're trying to get all these grains out of their, all these imperfections out of them. But at the same time, that's not for us to do. Yeah. We're not, what?
It's
It's
there's
just
thoughts in my head there, even with the plants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
God spoke the word, and the world became what it is. He spoke and light happened. He spoke and trees started to grow right out of the ground. Grass began coming right out of the ground. Ground came out of the water. It was darkness and void,
and if he had never said,
if he hadn't said a word, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
So life came from him speaking, and life is still happening today just by us speaking.
Well, there's just, I can't help but think of like the whole parent to child
or death.
Yeah, a parent-to-child relationship. It's like a parent that is constantly trying to make their child what they think their child should be.
Oh, yeah. That's so hard.
Because you're sitting there being like, this is what I know my child's capable of doing. They need to do this. They should be at this level right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just all these things.
All the pressure.
And all the work that they're trying to do to have their child be the most successful that they can be, the kid is unable to even focus on what they intention, regardless of whether it's good intentions. There's no way to be able to accept that when all I hear is how bad I am at everything. You can't even see the good that you are at. And it's been proven, especially in parenting, that the more that you have your kids focus on what they're good at and work them through what they struggle at, they have a more healthy concept as to their abilities and what their healthy boundaries are, and when it's time to step out of their comfort zone and try. Because inevitably you're pushing people to the point where they will feel that they will never be good enough.
Yeah, that's so hard.
They're incapable, or they will do it out of a spirit of rebellion to try to prove a point that was never meant to be made. The Lord is our God. We are not God. God loved everyone. He loved us, so much that he gave us Jesus. Jesus died for everyone. No one's better than anyone else. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we don't have the right to dictate people's lives when everyone should be working out their own salvation. We should be building people up to know that God loves them so much that he was willing to die for us because he thought that we were worth it.
Yeah.
He thought we were worth it.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, if God thought that they were worth it, then I think that you're worth it.
Yeah.
You're worth it. And when you find joy in something as simple as crafts, or simple as this, or simple as that, if you find joy in something, there's no reason to villainize or put a stigma on it or anything. Because obviously God has instilled an ability in you that you're able to use to glorify him. Yeah. I can't see how that isn't true. And when I see people feeling so entitled to how they perceive life or how things are supposed to be, that people can't possibly be something if they're not doing it a certain way, it just irks me, because I'm like, you're stunting someone's ability to be the best that they can be because you claim.
Yeah. Speak life. That is what God does, and that's what we're called to do as well. And we need to speak life into all situations.
I don't know. It's just it's very sad to see that we're in a culture that just wants to just villainize so much.
Right.
That we can't even appreciate the things that we do have in common. to the point where no one's doing it right or good enough, and people lose all sense of what life is about when that happens. And
Right.
it's okay to have what makes you happy. You know, God's instilled things in you for reasons.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
has a purpose for you. Even if you don't know how it works out or how it's supposed to work out, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Seek Him. He will help you through your life. You just have to let Him.
Yep. And I'm going to read this one more time. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. And we hope that these words were encouraging to you. Ephesians 4:29, New Living Translation.
We love you all. We really enjoy doing this. It's an encouragement to us, honestly, when we do this. It's like one of the times of the week that we really can look forward to, being able to stay motivated with our crafts. We love spending time with you, and we hope that this was a good time for you too, to be able to fellowship with us.
Yes.
If at any point in this video you felt that there was something that we brought up that you would like to share with us, you're more than welcome to leave it in comment, or if it's more private, we have an email that you're more than welcome to communicate with us, whether it's a prayer request or just something you want to share. We have it in the description below. And we hope to see you again. We enjoy doing this, and we hope you enjoy
spending time with
us. So until next time, we hope that you stitch your way
to mental health.